Hey, Pretty Girl Club. Have you ever noticed that a lot of women who talk about marrying a quote unquote high value man, or even the women online who have husbands, or the women who make hypergamy content, or, kind of this level up, like get a high value man type of content, a lot of times the women who claim that their husbands are so great, notice how a lot of those women, they don't actually bring their husbands online. They don't actually have the husband come on and talk and share with everyone how he serves her and how he pays all of her bills and provides for her and stuff like that. And I've also noticed that when a lot of people mention high value women or women that we should aspire to date like, they will use examples like Lori Harvey, Marjorie Harvey. People forget that Lori Harvey dated Diddy. So if he is supposed to be a high value man, yeah, I'm not interested. That's absolutely not my type. And then Marjorie Harvey is with Steve Harvey, who he used his first wife as like the come up woman. And then once he got his fame and stuff, he left her and he ended up, getting with Marjorie, who he most likely viewed as more attractive or whatever, kind of fitting his new image and his new lifestyle. Another power couple that I notice a lot of people like to pedestalize is Sierra and Russell Wilson. Did you know that Russell Wilson was actually married before he was with Sierra? So when Russell Wilson was in college, he was actually with this girl. She was like his college sweetheart. She transferred schools so that she could be closer to him. They went through a whole long distance relationship. Then they ended up getting married. And then as soon as Russell Wilson got drafted into the NFL and kind of like got more fame and all that, then a bunch of cheating rumors started about him, like under the surface, like it wasn't very famous that he was being the cheater. But he was on the Seahawks, and there were lots of Instagram models coming out at the time saying that, they would be sleeping with multiple guys at parties and stuff like that. And then there was even a rumor that his wife like cheated back on him. But it turns out that that rumor ended up not being true. Well, supposedly it wasn't true because even the guy in the NFL came out and said, no, I did not sleep with her or whatever. So even Russell Wilson, he was with this woman. She was the come up woman. She was there for him when he was not in the NFL. She was there for him when he was still just in college and before he even got drafted. Then once he got money, fame, clout, etc., then they end up getting a divorce and, he ends up having access to a woman like Sierra. And actually, there are rumors that he has cheated on Sierra as well and that they both have cheated on each other throughout their entire relationship. But I digress. Has anyone ever noticed that their standard for a high value man just means a man who is not a cheater? Like, even if a man is faithful, let's say that Russell Wilson has been faithful this whole entire time and he's perfect and whatever. Even if these men are faithful, that's not the only requirement that most women have in order to dedicate their whole entire lives to a man. Usually it takes more than just he doesn't cheat on me. Usually a woman also wants a guy who is emotionally available, a man who is not verbally or emotionally abusive, a guy who is supportive towards her goals and dreams, a guy who is like wants to spend time with her and doesn't want to just use her for clout and stuff like that. Also, anyone who thinks that NFL players are 100% faithful to their girlfriends and wives from the time they start dating for the next 80 years. No, even guys who are non-NFL players who have no access to women in real life, even those guys are cheaters. So what makes you think that a man with money, status, he has a nice body or whatever because he's an athlete and he's famous, what makes you think that that guy is suddenly going to be Jesus Christ reincarnated and he's not going to have any interest in cheating with anyone? He's never going to be unfaithful. Another example that people like to use is Aisha Curry and Steph Curry. Same thing with Steph Curry. I've seen so many threads and IG models and stuff coming out and saying like, hey, like I just slept with him or, he's definitely cheating on her. So it's like, have you ever noticed how whenever people say, oh, I want a high value man or, I'm holding out for this high value guy, a lot of the examples they name are not even guys that I find to be high value. Like I find those to just be regular guys who just happen to make it in the NFL or they happen to make it in the NBA or, they were dating you as their come up woman and then once they get their money and fame, they often leave you. And it also reminds me of Ariana Grande with that one guy who played SpongeBob. So I don't know his real name, so I'm just going to call him SpongeBob. So SpongeBob, when he was broke, when he was a nobody actor, when he had no real career going for him and he was playing SpongeBob, he had been with his high school sweetheart for like 10 years. And then, she is over here making sacrifices for him so that he can build his career and be this superstar actor and music theater star. And then, as soon as he actually makes it and actually becomes a superstar and gets access to people like Ariana Grande, then suddenly he wants to ditch the woman that was with him before. So a lot of women who talk about, oh, I want a guy who's a high value man. So I want him to be wealthy and I want him to like have some clout and some fame and have stuff going for him. And I want him to already be built up. It's like, okay, well, a lot of these guys who are already built up, oftentimes they are not faithful or they are not emotionally available or they have other children from previous marriages, baby mama drama and stuff like that, or they've constantly got other women chasing after them on the road. To marry an NFL player or an NBA player and to assume that no woman is going to ever try to chase after him or sleep with him is disingenuous. Like, I even remember, as much as I love Aisha Curry, I remember watching a thing where she was saying that she got mad that there was a woman sitting on Steph Curry's lap, and she got upset about that. But my question, as soon as she said that, I was thinking, wait a minute, why would he even be allowing another woman to sit on his lap in the first place? Like, why is he even allowing that? And what a lot of people don't realize is that most men are not even good at setting boundaries. Most men don't know what boundaries are, because if they did know what boundaries were, they wouldn't be constantly violating yours. But most men, they are not good at setting boundaries with other women, even if they are in a relationship. So a lot of guys, even the quote unquote nice guys, if another woman sits on his lap, some hot woman or something, he's not going to push her off. Or if a woman slides into his DMs, he's not going to block her. Or if a woman is constantly liking every single one of his pics, he's not going to tell you about it. He's not going to get rid of her off of his account. But notice how a lot of men, they want you to do that though. They want you to block your exes. They want you to get guys off of your Instagram. A lot of guys don't even want you to post revealing photos on your Instagram. But then some of these same men who claim that they are high value, or who some women claim that they are high value, no, they're not high value, they're just high earning. So just admit that you pedestalize men with money and that you allow them to get away with more and that you allow them to mistreat you more because they have money. Just admit that and then be done with it. I mean, I'm not judging anybody over here. Every woman can have her own standards, but I just know that for me personally, as far as my decentering men journey, I have decentered men enough to the point where I don't care if you're a trillionaire. I'm not going to spend my life being mistreated, neglected, cheated on, abused. And then some women will say, oh, just get with a guy who's ugly and rich and all of your problems are solved. No, imagine me having to wake up every morning to some ogre looking ass dude, and you're telling me I have to bend it over and bust it wide open for his ugly ass? So not only do I not get to enjoy sex for the rest of my life because he's hideously ugly, but then if I have kids with this guy, now my kids are half ugly too? So now my kids don't even get to experience pretty privilege. Now I have to spend $25,000 or $50,000 of his money getting these children plastic surgery to get rid of his ugly features. And so this whole concept of, oh, just get a rich man who's ugly and then all of your problems will be solved and you'll have the soft life. Well, no, birthing children who have unfortunate looks because of their father, that is not the soft life. Me being cheated on and mistreated by a man who's ugly, so he's ugly and has the audacity to cheat and emotionally neglect me? My self-esteem would be through the floor if I was dealing with that. But have you guys ever noticed this? Have you ever noticed how a lot of people, they like to talk about this ethereal, mythical, high value man. But when it comes time to actually give an example, like, okay, what's a high value man? Like morally, financially, he's also handsome and looks good. Nobody can name any examples. And my question is, well, why can't you point fingers and name names? Especially the women on TikTok and stuff who are like, oh, well, my husband, he's high value. Notice how they never show pictures of him. They never talk about how he has kids from a previous marriage or how he was a baby daddy. You know how a lot of guys, they say don't date baby mamas, or they think that a woman's value goes down if she's a baby mama. Okay, well, why don't we keep that same energy for baby daddies? I mean, I know that I personally don't want baby mama drama in my life if I have the choice. So a lot of these women, they they're only trying to promote the positive aspects of their marriages so that they can save their own image. And not only are they trying to convince you that they're not with a dusty or a 50-50 guy or a guy who is mid-level at best or, medium value at best, but a lot of times these women are trying to convince themselves that they didn't just waste 30 years with this guy or that they didn't, have kids with a guy who is hideously ugly in their eyes or, they're just trying to convince themselves that they didn't make a mistake. And so also, have you ever noticed how a lot of women who are they're either married or they have children or, they have relationships and stuff. A lot of those women have a tendency to insert themselves into child-free conversations, for example. It's like, wait a minute, but you ladies, you guys have kids and stuff, so like you guys should be happy with your kids, right? So why are you inserting yourself into child-free women's conversations? Or the women who, let's say they have these perfect, amazing relationships and their guy is so hypergamous and high value, they're so hypergamous and their guy is so high value or whatever. Why are you inserting yourself into decentering men conversations? You know what I mean? Because shouldn't you be over in the I don't know, my husband gives me the soft life conversation topics? Like, why is it that people who are living different lifestyles or people who can't relate to the content, they are constantly trying to put in their 2 cents in this content? It's giving, I'm trying to derail the conversation to distract from the things that I'm uncomfortable talking about. It's giving, I don't want you to expose me. It's giving, hey, let's keep sweeping things under the rug because misery loves company. And I want everyone to be in the same position as me so that I don't feel like I'm at the bottom of the social hierarchy. I don't want to feel like I am the only miserable one. So I'm going to lie and pretend that I have this amazing, perfect power couple marriage, or this guy is so high value, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to pretend that that's the case. And I'm not going to tell you, of course, about him cheating behind closed doors and how I allow him to cheat behind closed doors as long as he doesn't embarrass me publicly. I'm not going to tell you about that part. I'm not going to tell you about the fact that my husband has no edges, a bad hairline, he's balding, and has a huge beer belly. No, I'm not going to tell you that. I'm just going to tell you that I'm married to a guy who has a lot of money. And a lot of people, they like to use these manipulative tactics in order to put themselves in a position of power. Because for a lot of women who are, maybe they're married, maybe they're mothers, maybe maybe they're in these relationships and stuff and they don't have anything else going for them. So for a lot of women, this is their only form of power, is their only form of social status, is the fact that they get to say, I have a ring, or, I married a guy who is worth 100K, or I married a guy who is XYZ, or I have a light-skinned boyfriend. A lot of you guys have seen some of those women come on this channel and say, well, my boyfriend's light skinned, as if that's supposed to be some sort of flex or, as if we're supposed to be aspiring to that. But what do you ladies think? Let me know in the comment section and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.